intersection of my deepest needs.
Hey guys, I hope you're all doing great and that you have something warm to drink while we set up for October. I've been gone for some time to take care of some personal things, and I really want to thank you for all the love during this time, which is why it feels so good to be back. Since I've taken a break from YouTube as well as from my bullet journal, getting back into it, I really felt the need to reevaluate my whole planning system, and I thought I'd start this video by updating you guys on that. So I've had this bullet journal since June, and I've used it together with my traveler's notebook, which is where I keep my long-term collections and my journaling. However, I found that I went through the inserts too quickly, so I finally got my hands on 2 more of these Stillman Birn notebooks, and here's how I'm gonna set everything up. So one of the notebooks is going to be for future long-term planning, as well as long-term collections that I might be needing throughout the whole year. This way I won't have to keep transferring them every time I run out of pages in my main bullet journal. The second one is going to be my current bullet journal, my daily driver, and this is where I will focus on monthly and daily planning, habit tracking, and productivity related spreads. So that brings us to the third notebook, which is going to be dedicated to journaling, drawing, having some pictures in there. So just a notebook where I don't really have to worry about anything, sort of like a diary. So I think the system is going to give me the structure that I need for my brain to function properly, because not everything will be jumbled up into a single notebook, and I also won't be running out of space so quickly. So sometime life happens and I had to take a bit of a break from my bullet journal and my hobbies, but what's helped me get my creative energy and motivation back has been working on myself through reading personal development books. I don't always have the time to go through entire books, so I've been using the Blinkist app, which I wanted to share with you as well. If you don't know, what Blinkist does is it takes the insights from thousands of nonfiction books and they compress it into 15 minutes that you can either read or listen to on the go. So basically you're getting all the essential points of the books without having to invest hours into it, and it's structured in such a way that you can always go back to read through the most important takeaways and to even write them down in your bullet journal as reminders. It's now become a part of my morning routine to listen to a book while I set up my bullet journal, and it just helps me start the day on a positive note, and I also feel like I accomplished and learned something new. If you want to get a free trial, I highly recommend listening to 12 Rules for Life by Peterson. It's had an amazing impact on me, especially during this time, and after listening to it on the Blinkist app, I decided to get the full book so that I can read it further. So another way that I use the app is to figure out which books I want to read in full. If you're interested in getting a membership, Blinkist has been kind enough to partner with me for this video, and they're giving you guys a free trial plus 20% off to the first 200 people that click the link in the description. So if you're into personal development as much as I am, then this will be right up your alley and I can't recommend it enough. Alright, so now let's jump into the cover page for October. I have to admit that I was kind of nervous to share this with you guys because it's so different from what I've done before, but this is real life and I just needed a really quick setup, something that would be low maintenance throughout the month so that I can focus on getting back into things. So instead of drawing everything by hand, I decided to use some stamps that I got from Amazon. They were really inexpensive, and I thought since it's Halloween month, this could also be haunted houses. You could draw little ghosts inside or whatever you want. I kept it super simple though. This took me like 5 minutes, which has never been the case with any of my cover pages, but it was just a great way to get back into things and to get inspired again. I'll have a link to the stamps in the description, but please don't feel like you have to go buy them. You can totally draw these by hand, and I'll have some pictures of them that you can use as reference. You guys already know the next spread with the monthly calendar. It's stayed pretty much the same for like the past 5 months, just because there's really nothing that I want to change about it. It's just clean and simple, and for me personally, it's plenty of space to plan out my whole month. And because the calendar is so small, it helps me to see the big picture for the whole month, because otherwise I have the tendency to overcrowd it. I usually do something more intricate for the title on this page, but for this month I decided to leave it simple, so I just used my letter stamps for it. So I finished everything off with some more decorations, and again the spread was so quick to do and I love the simplicity of it.
we grow some nectarines, baby?
By the way, if you're new to my channel and wondering why I'm putting a grid paper underneath, it's just because my notebook has blank pages, so I use that paper to help me draw straight lines. So one good thing that's come from this whole hiatus is the fact that because I wasn't feeling my best, I realized that I have to take better care of myself. So this spread is actually a food and workout log, which is where you write down what you've eaten each day and what type of physical activities you've done. Now, this is something that doesn't work for everybody, but in the past it's helped me a lot to just be more conscious of my choices when it comes to nutrition and exercise. At the bottom, I stamped a quote from the book that I talked about, which says, "Treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping," which I think is so powerful and perfectly sums up the purpose of this spread.
So let's not waste our time, baby.
Moving over to my favorite spread from the setup, which is the habit tracker. I did it on 2 full pages this time because I really wanted to add a couple more habits to it. So I drew a box for each one and used my date stamp to add the calendars. When I got to the last box, I accidentally dropped it onto the paper and it stained it, but after that I went in with the house stamps and it kind of covered it up. So instead of a title, I thought it would be really cool to stamp another quote from the book that goes perfectly with the spread, which says, "Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today." And I think that's the perfect quote for the habit tracker because it's just a reminder that even though it's important to be self-critical in order to move forward, it's also important to see our own improvements, small as they may be, but they're much more important than comparing yourself to someone else.
Same old song with a zesty lick. I'm ready to explore in this magical bliss that is.
I wanted to try something new for my expense tracker as well, because usually I split up my expenses into different categories, but this month I thought I'd just have a running list and write down my expenses as they happen. And I don't have to do this every day because I have all that information on my phone, but to be honest, I wouldn't even check that if it wasn't for the spread, so I still find it useful as well. And I think I've been tracking my expenses on and off for the past few years, and I've definitely noticed that having it on paper really helps keep me on track. Alright, so the final spread is going to be my weekly page. I did go a bit overboard with this one, but it was kind of too late to back down. The stamps didn't come out great, so I had to go in with the pen to fill in some of the gaps, and I also added a few elements here and there. I also put some craft paper in the top corner, which I think gives it a bit of color and interest, and then I just stamped on the title and the week number. And then, as usual with my weekly setups, I only set it up for Monday because I like setting up each day as it comes so that I can use exactly how much or how little space I need depending on what's going on. Alright, so that actually concludes my whole setup for this month. I really hope that you got something out of it, and if you ever need to get back into bullet journaling, I hope you got some inspiration on how you can do that more easily. Make sure you check the description box if you have questions about any of the supplies that I used in this video, and to also get that free trial for Blinkist. I hope you have a wonderful month ahead, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye guys!
Don't we grow some nectarines, baby? Why don't we grow a little?